Tonight, our story takes us back to the dust and glory of ancient Rome to witness the stone by stone rising of the mighty Colosseum. But first, come in from the cold, you are safe here. The fire is warm and the shadows are friendly. If you wish to return to this sanctuary another night, consider subscribing to easily find your way back. Now, settle in, deep into your chair. The book for this tale is already here, heavy, bound in rough sun-bleached leather, smelling of travertine and history. Let us open it together. Our story begins. Imagine the air is thick and heavy with moisture. It is the hour just before dawn, where the world holds its breath. We are standing in a low valley, surrounded by the looming silhouettes of the Esquiline, Palatine, and Caelian hills. But beneath our feet there is no stone pavement, no packed dirt on the arena floor. There is only the soft, yielding edge of water. This is the vast, artificial lake of the Emperor Nero. It is a mirror of dark glass, stretching out in the silence, motionless and deep. It was created to reflect the vanity of one man, a private ocean in the heart of a burning city. Can you smell the water? It has the scent of stillness, of lilies floating on the surface, and underneath that, the faint, lingering odour of charred wood and wet ash. The memory of the great fire still haunts this valley. The soil remembers the heat, but the water has come to soothe it, to bury the scars under a blanket of liquid obsidian. Walk with me along the muddy bank. The mist is rising, curling around your ankles like cool white silk. It clings to the reeds that whisper softly when the wind brushes against them. There are no crowds here, no cheering multitudes. Only the call of a heron in the distance, lonely and sharp, echoing off the walls of Nero's golden house that overlooks this quiet lake. The palace stands empty now, a ghost of opulence, its gold leaf peeling in the damp morning air, its jewelled corridors silent. The lake is a barrier. It says to the people of Rome, keep out. This water belongs to the emperor alone. It is a place of stolen land, a pleasure garden built on the ashes of homes destroyed by fire. Feel the coolness of the air on your skin. It feels lonely here. It feels disconnected from the pulse of the city that beats faintly beyond the hills. The water laps gently, rhythmically, against the shore. Slosh, hush, slosh, hush. A hypnotic lullaby for a dynasty that has fallen. But the silence is heavy with anticipation. It is the kind of silence that comes before a storm or before a great awakening. The water reflects the grey sky, but deep down, in the murky depths, something is shifting. The era of Nero has ended. The golden house is abandoned, and a new man sits upon the throne of the Caesars. His name is Vespasian. Picture him now, not as a statue of cold marble, but as a living, breathing man. He is a soldier. He smells of leather armour, of horse sweat, and the dust of campaigns. He is a man of the earth, practical and stern. He stands on the ridge overlooking this silent private lake, and he does not see beauty. He sees a wound. He sees a theft. He sees the heart of Rome stolen from its people and drowned in water for the pleasure of one. He makes a decision. It is a decision that will change the skyline of the world forever. He speaks in a low, gravelly voice, a voice that carries the weight of authority. He points to the water. The land must be returned. The lake must go. Can you imagine the scale of such a task? To command the water to leave? The work begins not with a roar, but with the wet, sucking sound of mud. Engineers, the finest minds of the empire, gather with scrolls of parchment that crackle in the wind. They map the flow. They study the slopes. They design a great artery, a massive stone channel deep beneath the earth, to bleed the valley dry. Listen to the sound of the water changing. It is no longer the gentle lapping of a pleasure pond. It becomes a rushing torrent. A channel is opened, a great sewer connecting to the Tiber River far away. The water begins to move. It swirls, it churns. It is dark and thick with silt. Day by day, the level drops. Imagine standing there as the lake retreats. The smell changes. It becomes rich and pungent, the scent of an exposed riverbed, of decaying vegetation that hasn't seen the sun in years. It is the smell of raw creation. The mud is slick and black, glistening like the back of a great sea creature surfacing for air. Objects lost by Nero's courtiers emerge from the sludge. A silver goblet, a broken oar. They are swallowed by the mud, ignored by the workers who have a greater purpose. The sound of rushing water fills the valley for weeks. It is a cleansing sound. It is the sound of Rome reclaiming its heart. The water rushes into the darkness of the cloaca, carrying away the vanity of the past, leaving behind a vast empty bowl of wet earth. The valley is naked now, stripped of its finery. It is just a deep, damp depression in the ground, waiting for what comes next. And what comes next is the heavy, rhythmic thud of the shovel. The ground is still soft, but the engineers have found the bedrock beneath the clay. The first labourers arrive. They are not the elite. They are the hands of the empire. Thousands of them. Can you see them? Their tunics are stained with the grey clay of the valley. Their breath steams in the cool morning air. The first iron shovel pierces the damp earth. Chunk. A sound of finality, a sound of beginning, then another and another, until the valley echoes with the rhythm of excavation. They are digging a ring, a massive, perfect oval. They are carving the shape of the future into the mud. Feel the texture of the materials they bring. This is not just stone. This is the secret strength of Rome. Carts arrive, their wooden wheels creaking under the weight, laden with volcanic ash. Pozzolana. It is grey and gritty, born of fire from the earth's deep vents. When you rub it between your fingers, it feels like coarse sand, but it holds a magic within it. They mix it with lime, they mix it with stones, and they mix it with water. Watch the mixture churn. It is a thick grey sludge, heavy and wet. But as they pour it into the deep trenches they have dug, a chemical heat begins to rise. Can you feel the warmth radiating from the ground? The concrete is alive. It is reacting. It is binding together, turning from a liquid soup into a rock harder than the stone it was made from. They pour a ring of this liquid stone 20 feet deep, 40 feet deep. It is a foundation meant to hold up the sky. It settles into the earth, displacing the last of the lake's moisture, drinking it up and hardening. It smells of wet chalk and sulphur. It is a sharp, clean smell, the smell of permanence. Vespasian wants to give this land back to the people, but he will not give them a park. He will not give them a garden. He will build them a mountain. Walk along the edge of this massive concrete ring. It is smooth to the touch now, cooling as it sets. It is vast. You cannot see the other side clearly through the morning haze. It is just a curve of grey disappearing into the fog. This is the anchor. This is the root. Before a single arch can rise, before a single column can be lifted, this root must take hold in the darkness of the soil. The valley is no longer a place of silence. It is a hive of controlled chaos. The shouts of foremen, the creak of wooden cranes lifting heavy baskets of earth, the splash of water, the grinding of stone on stone. But underneath it all, if you listen very closely, you can hear the deep, resonant hum of the earth accepting this new burden. The lake is gone. The reflection is broken. In its place lies a floor of drying mud and a ring of indestructible concrete. The ghost of Nero has been banished by the sweat of the worker and the genius of the engineer. Stand in the centre of the drying basin. Look up at the hills surrounding you. They seem higher now, towering over this excavation. The sky above is a pale, indifferent blue. You are standing in the footprint of a giant that has not yet been born. Run your hand over the rough surface of the foundation wall. It is cold, damp and gritty. It feels ancient already, though it was poured only days ago. This stone will outlast the men who poured it. It will outlast the emperor who ordered it. It will outlast the empire itself. The water has receded, but a flood of stone is coming. Take a moment to absorb the magnitude of this beginning. The sheer audacity to drain a lake and replace it with stone. The vision required to see a stadium where there was once only water. The sun begins to set over the Palatine Hill, casting long shadows across the work site. The labourers are leaving for the night, their footsteps heavy, their voices low. The valley returns to a semblance of quiet, but it is different now. It is not the hushed, secretive silence of Nero's private garden. It is the resting silence of a construction site. The smell of the wet concrete lingers in the twilight. The air cools and the fog begins to return, settling into the trenches, wrapping around the wooden scaffoldings that have begun to rise like skeletal fingers. Here, in the damp earth, amidst the smell of drying clay and volcanic ash, the dream has taken form. The water has surrendered to the will of Rome. The foundation is set. Close your eyes. Listen to the wind passing through the valley. It no longer rustles the reeds of a lake. It whistles through the scaffolding. It whispers of the spectacles to come. It whispers of sand, blood, and thunder. But for now, there is only the mud, the stone, and the promise of what will rise. The lake is a memory. The Colosseum has begun. Come with me now, away from the damp shadows of the valley floor. We are travelling east, following the rising sun, leaving the city. Behind us for a moment. Let your mind drift toward the hills. The air here is different. It is drier, sharper, filled with a fine, chalky powder that catches in the throat. We are approaching the ancient quarries of Tiber, the place where the earth offers up its bones to build the dream of Rome. The morning light here is not soft, it is blinding. Imagine standing at the edge of a great open wound in the hillside. The sun beats down, reflecting off walls of sheer, brilliant white. This is the home of the travertine. It is a stone born of water, formed over thousands of years by the sulphurous springs that bubble up from the deep. Can you smell it? There is a faint tang of sulphur in the air, a scent of the subterranean world, mixing with the dry, dusty smell of crushed rock. Look closely at the stone face. It is not smooth like marble. It is textured. It is full of tiny pores, little pockets of air trapped in rock, like a sponge turned to stone. It feels rough under your fingertips, warm from the morning sun. It is a stone that breathes. The silence of the countryside is broken here, but not by the chaotic noise of the city. Here the sound is rhythmic, almost musical. Chink, chink, crack. Listen to the song of the chisel, 1,000 iron points striking 1,000 stone surfaces. It is a high-pitched metallic ringing that hangs in the still air. The workers are covered in white dust. It clings to their eyelashes, turns their hair grey, coats their sweating skin until they look like statues themselves, living ghosts moving against the white cliffs. Watch a master stonecutter at work. He does not strike in anger. He strikes with knowledge. He knows the grain of the mountain. He looks for the fault lines, the secrets the rock wants to tell. He drives a wedge of dry wood into a crack. Then he pours water over it. Wait. Watch. The wood drinks the water. It swells. It expands with a slow, irresistible force, and then, with a deep, groaning sound that seems to come from the center of the earth, the rock splits. A massive block, heavy and square, separates from the mother stone. It falls with a heavy, dusty thud that shakes the ground beneath your sandals. This is the harvest, not of wheat or grapes or olives, but of permanence. These blocks are white as milk, fresh from the quarry, gleaming against the blue sky. They are heavy with potential, waiting to be taken on a journey that will end in immortality. Now, the journey begins. We must move this mountain, piece by piece, to the city. Step onto the road. This is the Via Tiburtina. It is a ribbon of grey basalt stretching 20 miles from the quarries to the heart of Rome. It is hard, unforgiving, and straight as an arrow. Do you hear the rumble in the distance? It is a low, vibrating sound like distant thunder that never fades. It is the sound of the transport. The blocks of travertine are immense. Some weigh 5 tons, some 10. No ordinary cart can carry them. These wagons are monsters of oak and iron, built low to the ground, their wheels thick and reinforced with heavy iron rims, and the beasts that pull them are not horses. Horses are for speed. They are too flighty, too fragile for this work. Look at the oxen. They are massive, hulking creatures with wide, curved horns and shoulders like boulders. Their coats are creamy white, stained with the dust of the road. Can you smell them? The deep, musky scent of warm animal fur, the smell of damp leather harnesses, the sweet smell of the hay they chewed at dawn. They move in teams of 4 or 8 or 12. Their heads are low, swaying with the rhythm of their stride. Their breath huffs out in rhythm. Hoo, hoo. The drivers do not use whips. They use their voices, low and guiding, and long poles to tap the shoulders of the beasts. Walk on, they murmur. Steady now. The sound of the wheels on the paving stones is hypnotic. Clack, rumble. Clack, rumble. The iron rims grind against the basalt road. It is a bone-shaking sound, a friction of metal on stone that sends vibrations up through the soles of your feet. Walk beside one of these wagons. Place your hand on the rough, warm flank of the travertine block. It feels solid, immovable, yet it is moving. You are walking alongside a piece of the Colosseum. This specific block, this exact square of white stone, might one day hold the weight of an emperor or soak up the blood of a gladiator. The dust on the road is thick. It rises in clouds, turning the sunlight into a golden haze. You can taste the grit on your tongue. The sun climbs higher, and the heat radiates off the stones. The air shimmers. The procession of carts stretches as far as the eye can see, a river of white stone flowing slowly, inevitably toward the city. There is no haste here, only endurance. The oxen do not hurry. The stone does not hurry. It is a slow, relentless march of gravity and muscle. It takes hours to travel these miles. The shadows lengthen. The sun begins to dip. But still the wheels turn. Clack rumble, a heartbeat of industry, a pulse of stone moving through the veins of the empire. We have arrived back at the valley. The sun has set, but the work does not stop. Torches flicker in the deepening twilight, casting long, dancing shadows against the excavated earth. The foundation we saw poured is now cured. It is a flat, grey table waiting for its guests. And the guests have arrived. The travertine blocks are unloaded. The oxen are led away, their work done, to drink deeply from troughs of water. Now it is time for the masons. Watch how they build. There is no mortar here, no sticky paste of lime and sand to glue these stones together. This is the architecture of pure weight. This is the opus quadratum. A massive crane, a towering structure of wooden beams and pulleys, stands ready. It is powered by men walking inside a great treadwheel like squirrels in a cage. As they walk, the ropes tighten. The block lifts. It hovers in. The air spinning slowly, a white ghost in the torchlight. The foreman signals with a silent hand. The block descends. Lower, lower. The men on the ground reach out. They guide the floating stone with calloused hands. They can feel the coldness of the rock, the sharpness of its edges. They must align it perfectly. There is no room for error. If it is crooked by a fraction of an inch, the entire wall will fail. Listen for the sound of the contact. It is not a crash. It is a deep, resonant thud that you feel in your chest. Stone meeting stone. The fit is so precise you cannot slide a knife blade between the blocks. It is seamless. They sit together as if they were never apart, united by gravity, held in place by their own crushing mass. But the Romans do not trust gravity alone. They want this to last for eternity. Look closely at the top of the block. The masons have carved a groove, a small channel shaped like a butterfly or a double swallowtail. It matches a groove in the neighbouring stone. A worker steps forward. He holds an iron clamp, a heavy bar of dark metal forged in the heat of a smithy. He places it into the groove, bridging the two stones. It fits loosely. Then comes the lead. A small cauldron is brought forward, hanging from a hook. Inside, molten lead shimmers like liquid silver, heavy and deadly hot. The heat coming off it warps the air. Can you smell the metallic tang? It is a sharp, acrid scent that pricks the nose. The worker tips the cauldron. The liquid metal pours into the groove surrounding the iron clamp. It hisses as it touches the cold stone. A tiny wisp of white steam curls up. Hiss. In seconds the lead cools. It solidifies. It grips the iron and the stone in an unbreakable embrace. The two blocks are now one. They are fused together, not just by weight, but by metal. This is the skeleton of the amphitheatre. Row by row the pillars rise. They stand white and ghostly in the night, a forest of stone trunks growing out of the concrete floor. They are stark. They are stripped of ornament. There are no statues yet, no marble veneer, just the raw, honest strength of the travertine. Run your hand over the joint where the lead was poured. It is still warm to the touch, a fading memory of the fire. The metal is smooth, contrasting with the rough, porous stone. Stand back and look up. The scale is beginning to reveal itself. These are not just walls, they are the ribs of a giant. You are standing inside the chest cavity of a beast that is slowly waking up. The wind blows through the gaps between the great piers. It makes a low, moaning sound like a flute played by a giant. It is a lonely sound, but it is also a sound of triumph. The road from Tivoli has ended here. The mountain has been moved. The white stone, once buried in the dark earth of the hills, now stands under the stars of Rome, ready to hold up the sky. The skeleton is rising, and it is magnificent in its bare, white silence. The white skeleton of travertine stands tall against the Roman sky, bleaching in the sun, hard and unyielding. It is the bone of the beast, but a skeleton is not a body. A skeleton cannot hold the blood of a crowd, nor the flesh of the wooden seats, nor the skin of the marble that will one day cover it. To flesh out this giant, to fill the spaces between the ribs, the engineers turn to a different kind of magic. They turn to the grey dust, come closer to the mixing pits. They are dug into the earth near the rising walls, lined with wood, stained white and grey. Here there is no ringing of metal on stone. Here the sound is softer, wetter. It is the sound of sloshing, of churning, of thick, heavy mud being folded over and over again. This is the secret of the empire. This is the recipe that will allow Rome to defy time itself. Look at the sacks stacked nearby. They are made of rough burlap, bulging with a fine, dark powder. A worker steps forward and slices one open with a small knife. The powder spills out. It is not sand. It is not crushed rock. It is something born of fire. This is pozzolana. It comes from the south, from the burning fields of Puteoli, in the shadow of the great volcano Vesuvius. It is the ash of the earth's own furnace. Long ago the mountains exploded, raining down this grey snow, and now the Romans have gathered it up to build their world. Reach out and touch a pinch of it. Be careful, do not breathe it in. It is fine, like flour, but it feels sharp and gritty between your fingertips. It smells of deep old earth. It smells of sulphur and brimstone, a faint, sleeping scent of the underworld. It is volcanic ash, cooled and waiting. On its own it is nothing but dust. A gust of wind could blow it away. But the Romans are alchemists of stone. Watch as they add the second ingredient. Lime, white, caustic quicklime. It has been burned in kilns until it is pure and thirsty. It is dangerous. It can burn the skin off a man's hand if he is careless. It radiates a dry, hungry heat. They mix the grey ash and the white lime together. The colours swirl, grey eating white, white streaking grey. It looks like a storm cloud captured in a pit. And then they add the water. This is the moment of transformation. Listen. Can you hear it? A low, faint hissing sound. Sss. It is the sound of the stone waking up. As the water hits the mixture, a reaction begins. This is not just mud drying in the sun. This is chemistry. The mixture begins to bubble gently. It thickens into a slurry, a heavy, viscous soup that looks like lava returning to liquid form. The workers move their hose through it, pulling and pushing, sweating as the resistance grows. The paste is binding. It is becoming opus caementitium, Roman concrete. But the most miraculous thing is not what you see. It is what you feel. Step to the edge of the pit. Hold your hand over the grey sludge just a few inches above the surface. Do not touch it. Just feel the air. It is hot. A fever is rising from the mud. The chemical marriage of the lime and the volcanic ash creates a powerful, radiant heat. It is an exothermic reaction, a fire without flame burning inside the wet stone. It warms your palm. It warms the faces of the men mixing it. In the cool morning air you can see wisps of steam curling up from the pit, twisting like ghosts before vanishing. This heat is the sign of the bond forming. The silica in the ash is locking arms with the calcium in the lime, creating a crystal structure so dense, so impermeable, that not even the sea could dissolve it. Indeed, if you threw this mixture into the ocean, it would not wash away. It would harden underwater. It loves the water. It drinks it and turns to rock. But here, in the dry air of the valley, it is destined for the walls. Watch as the labourers fill their baskets. They do not carry massive blocks like the travertine workers. They carry the liquid stone. They climb the wooden scaffolding, the baskets creaking on their shoulders, dripping grey, tiers of concrete onto the ground below. They pour it into wooden forms, moulds built between the travertine piers. Slop, splat. The sound is heavy and wet. The concrete settles, filling every crack, every void. It takes the shape of the wood. It hugs the stone. It creates a solid, unified mass that has no joints, no weak points. It is one continuous rock. As it cures, the heat lingers for days. If you were to press your ear against the wooden formwork at night, you would feel the warmth of the wall against your cheek. It feels like a living creature, warm with blood, growing in the dark. It is the warmth of creation. But the Colosseum cannot be made only of heavy stone and concrete. It is growing taller. It is reaching for the clouds. And as any builder knows, if the head is too heavy, the body will crumble. We must lighten the load. We must leave the heavy travertine at the bottom where the weight is greatest. As we ascend, as we climb the tiers where the common people will sit, the materials must change. The recipe must be altered. Look at the piles of stone waiting for the upper levels. They are not the blinding white of the travertine. They are yellow. They are brown. They are rough and porous. This is tough. Pick up a piece. It is surprisingly light in your hand. It feels like a hardened sponge. It is volcanic rock, yes, but it is rock that was frothed with air when it was born. It is full of tiny holes, a honeycomb of stone. Rub your thumb over the surface. It is coarse, warm, and earthy. It does not have the cold, slick feel of marble. It feels friendly. It feels like the soil of Rome itself. The masons lay these blocks in the upper walls. They move faster now. The stones are easier to lift, easier to cut. Chip, chip. The sound is duller, softer than the ringing of the travertine. The walls rise in bands of colour, the white base, the yellow midsection, a gradient of earth tones rising into the sky. But even the tuff is too heavy for the highest reaches, for the vaults and the intricate arches that will support the seating. For that, we need something man-made. We need the harvest of the kiln. We need the brick. See the stacks of them, thousands upon thousands, arranged like walls of red geometry. They are thin, flat triangles and squares, the colour of dried blood, the colour of rust, the colour of autumn leaves. They are made of clay, dug from the river banks, moulded by hand, and baked in fire until they ring like pottery when you tap them. Clink, clink, a high, clear sound. The bricklayers are artists of speed and precision. They work with a different rhythm than the stonecutters. Their movements are fluid. Watch one of them. He holds a triangular brick in his left hand. With his right, he scoops a dollop of the grey mortar, the volcanic paste we saw earlier. He spreads it with a trowel. Scrape, slap. He presses the brick into the wall. He does not lay them flat and thick like a modern wall. He uses the bricks as a facing, a skin to hold. The concrete core. He builds a sandwich of red clay, and into the middle the liquid concrete is poured. The bricks drink the moisture from the mortar, bonding instantly. They become one. The red walls rise like flames licking upward. They are light, they are strong, they are the feathers of the eagle. Walk up the ramp to the higher levels, where the air is windier and the ground seems far away. The construction here feels different. It feels airy. The massive, crushing weight of the foundation is a memory down below. Here, it is about geometry and lightness. The vaults above your head are vast curves of concrete and brick. To make them even lighter, the engineers have done something clever, something secret. Look into the wet concrete of the ceiling vault before it dries. Do you see what they are burying inside? They are taking empty clay amphorae, oil jars, wine jugs, and embedding them into the concrete. Hollow pockets of air, trapped inside ceramic vessels hidden forever within. The stone. They are building with air. They are cheating gravity. The structure becomes a living gradient of density. At the bottom, the dense white bone of travertine, heavy enough to crush a man. In the middle, the porous yellow tuff and the grey concrete. At the top, the light red brick and the hollow jars. It is a mountain that gets lighter as it rises. Stand now on the highest finished scaffolding. The wind pulls at your tunic. The smell here is a mixture of the sharp chemical lime, the dusty dry brick, and the fresh breeze coming off the distant sea. Below you, the city of Rome spreads out, a chaotic ocean of rooftops and smoke. But here, under your feet, there is order. There is chemistry. There is a plan. The grey dust from the volcano has cooled. The heat has faded from the walls, leaving them hard as diamond. The red bricks are baked by the sun. The yellow tuff glows in the afternoon light. The skeleton is no longer bare. It is clothed in layers of stone and ceramic, a complex body of different tissues working together. It is a masterpiece of engineering, a recipe cooked in the mind of Rome and baked in the sun of Italy. You can feel the stillness of the structure. It is not just a pile of rocks. It is a unified whole, bound by the grey volcanic glue that will hold it together for 1,000 years. While other empires build with wood that rots or iron that rusts, Rome builds with the dust of the earth and the fire of the chemical bond. Run your hand along the rough red surface of a brick wall high in the air. It is warm. It is solid. It is ready. The arena is taking shape. The bowl is formed. The stage is set. And the stone is waiting for the silence to be broken. Stand now at a distance. Let us retreat from the dust of the mixing pits and the heat of the lime kilns. Let us walk back until the great structure is just a silhouette against the piercing blue of the Roman sky. From here, you do not see the sweat of the labourers or the grit of the concrete. You see only the form. You see the rhythm. It is a circle, a perfect endless loop. But it is not a solid wall that confronts you. It is a lattice. It is a honeycomb of stone and shadow. Look at the bottom tier. Count them with me if you have the patience of a stonecutter. 1, 2, 3. On and on the rhythm goes, wrapping around the entire circumference of the valley. 80. There are 80 arches standing shoulder to shoulder, 80 open mouths swallowing the light and breathing out the darkness. This is the geometry of the infinite. There is a hypnotic quality to them. As you walk the perimeter, the perspective shifts. An arch that looks narrow and closed opens up as you approach, revealing the cool darkness within, and then closes again as you pass. Open, shut, open, shut. It is like watching the flickering of a great zoetrope, a moving picture made of travertine and air. The sun plays a game with this architecture. Observe the light. In the morning, the eastern arches are bathed in white fire, glowing so brightly it hurts to look at them. The stone seems to dissolve into pure radiance. But look to the west. There the arches are deep caves of purple shadow, mysterious and impenetrable. As the day turns, the shadows move. They creep across the facade like the hands of a clock. The Colosseum is not just a stadium, it is a sundial for the city. The darkness slides from one pillar to the next, a slow, silent rotation that marks the passing of time. The Romans love order, and here even the sunlight is forced to march in formation. Walk closer now. Let us approach one of these great openings. Stand directly beneath the curve of the arch. Look up. It is a shape of pure power. It is not a triangle, sharp and aggressive. It is not square, rigid and flat. It is a curve mimicking the dome of the heavens, mimicking the horizon. Consider the miracle of this shape. It creates strength out of weakness. A wall blocks the way, but an arch invites you through. It holds up the millions of tons of stone above it, not by clenching, but by leaning. Every stone in that curve rests on the one below it, pushing down and out, a chain of trust transferring the weight of the mountain all the way down to the earth. And at the very top, the center of the bow, sits the keystone. It is the final piece, the lock. Without it, the arch would collapse into a pile of rubble. With it, the arch becomes immortal. It is a wedge of travertine hammered into place, forcing the other stones out against the pillars. It creates tension. It creates balance. It is a frozen struggle of forces caught in stone, holding the sky at bay. You can feel the tension if you place your hand on the pillar. The stone feels alive, compressed by the burden it carries. It is not sleeping. It is working. It is straining in eternal silence to keep the passage open. Now, lower your gaze. Look at the space just above the keystone on the lintel of the arch. The sun is bright, but if you squint, you can see the marks. They are carved deep into the travertine. They are geometric scars, lines, V-shapes, X-shapes. These are numbers. This is not a chaotic barn where the mob rushes in like cattle. This is Rome. Rome is the mother of bureaucracy. Rome is the mother of lists, of census, of order. Even in their pleasure, even in their bloodlust, there must be a system. Each of the 80 arches is numbered. Imagine the paint that once filled these grooves. Bright red cinnabar, perhaps, making the numerals pop against the white stone. You could see them from across the plaza. Entrance 23, entrance 54. Pause for a moment and feel the weight of a small object in your hand. Close your fingers around it. It is cool and smooth. It is a shard of pottery, or perhaps a small disc of bone, a tessera, a ticket. On this little token, scratched by a scribe, are your coordinates: a number for the gate, a number for the level, a number for the row, a number for the seat. It is a system of absolute control. The emperor does not want riots at the gates. He does not want the crushing panic of 50,000 people fighting for a bench. So the architecture sorts them. It sifts the population like grain. The senators, in their heavy white togas bordered with purple, drift toward the southern entrance. They do not mix with the common rabble. Their path is wide, paved with marble, smelling of incense and perfume. The Vestal virgins, silent and holy, glide toward their own private gate. And the people, the baker, the tanner, the soldier on leave, they look at their shards of bone. They look up at the red numbers on the arches. They find their match. It creates a strange, quiet efficiency outside the walls. There is a hum of voices. Yes, the shuffle of sandals. But there is flow. Like water in a canal, the crowd divides. Streams of people break off, turning left, turning right, absorbed by the 80 hungry mouths of the amphitheatre. It is a machine, a stone computer designed to process human bodies. It takes the chaos of the city and organizes it into neat, concentric rings of applause. Run your finger over the carved number on the stone. The edges are sharp. The chisel was held by a steady hand. It is a testament to the belief that everything in the world, even a mob, can be tamed by geometry. Let us follow the stream. Let us step through the arch. The transition is sudden. One moment, you are in the blazing, roasting heat of the Roman afternoon. The sun is a physical weight on your shoulders. The air is thick with dust and the smell of unwashed bodies. Then you cross the threshold. Instantly the world changes. The light vanishes, replaced by a cool, dim greyness. The temperature drops 10 degrees in a single step. Can you feel the chill on your skin? It is the damp, cave-like breath of the interior. You are now in the vomitoria. The word sounds violent, does it not? It sounds visceral, but it describes function. These are the corridors that spew the people forth into the seats and swallow them back up when the show is done. Listen to the acoustics here. The sound of the city outside is cut off, muffled by the thick walls of concrete and tufa. In its place, a new soundscape takes over. Click, click, click. The sound of hard leather soles on stone. It echoes. It bounces off the vaulted ceilings. The corridors are designed like tunnels, curved and smooth, amplifying the footsteps. 100 people walking here sound like an army. The air moves differently here. Outside, the air was stagnant and hot. Here, it is rushing. The architects have created a wind tunnel. The breeze is pulled in through the 80 arches, squeezed through the narrowing corridors and pushed up toward the arena. Stand still in the middle of the hallway. Close your eyes. Feel the draft. It is a constant cool stream of air brushing against your face, drying the sweat on your brow. It smells of wet plaster, of cold stone, and faintly, just faintly, of the sawdust and animals waiting in the dark below. The walls here are not raw brick, they are covered in plaster painted in simple geometric patterns, red lines on white. It is clean. It is utilitarian. The corridor curves. You cannot see the end of it. You are walking inside the shell of a snail. The curve pulls you forward. You have no choice but to follow it. The architecture dictates your path. You cannot get lost, but you also cannot stray. You are a corpuscle moving through a vein of stone. As you walk deeper, the light changes again. You see a brightness ahead, a different kind of light. Not the harsh glare of the street, but the open, airy light of the arena bowl. The sound grows louder, not footsteps now, but a low, bestial roar. The sound of 50,000 people murmuring, shifting, waiting. But here, in the tunnel, in the few seconds before you emerge, there is a strange intimacy. You are held in the belly of the beast. The stone surrounds you, cool and indifferent. Touch the wall as you pass. The plaster is smooth, cold to the touch. It has absorbed the chill of the night and held it through the day. The corridor begins to slope upward. Your calves burn slightly as you climb. The ceiling lowers. The pressure builds. The architecture is squeezing you, preparing to release you into the light. This is the genius of the design. It controls not just the body, but the mind. It moves you from the heat to the cool, from the light to the dark, and then, suddenly, back into the blinding spectacle. You are moving through the arteries of Rome. You are part of the blood of the empire. And ahead, the tunnel ends. The cool draught becomes a gust of wind. The murmur becomes a roar. The geometry of the arches has done its work. It has brought you here, to the edge of the world, where the civilized order of the corridor meets the savage chaos of the sand. But for now, stay in the shadow of the tunnel. Let the cool air wash over you. Listen to the echo of the sandals on the stone. Rest in the perfect numbered order of the machine before the madness begins. Leave the cool shadows of the arches now. Leave the smooth numbered stones and the damp corridors of the vomitoria. We are going to climb. We are going to ascend away from the solid earth, up into a world that is temporary, fragile, and alive. Close your eyes for a moment. Take a deep breath. Do you smell that? The heavy, dusty scent of lime and pulverized rock has faded. It has been replaced by something sharper, something sweet and piercing. It is the scent of high mountains brought down to the valley floor. It is the scent of pine resin, of sap, of cut timber. We are entering the forest that clings to the side of the stone mountain. To build a structure this high, the Romans could not simply stand on the ground. They had to build a second structure, a ghost skeleton made of wood, wrapping around the rising amphitheatre like a vast chaotic web. It is a masterpiece of carpentry that will never be recorded in history books, destined to be dismantled and burned when the work is done. But for now, it is the veins and arteries of the construction site. Reach out and touch one of the upright beams. It is a trunk of a pine tree, stripped of its branches but still wearing its rough red-brown bark. It feels warm in the sun. It is sticky. Press your thumb against a knot in the wood. A drop of amber resin, the blood of the tree, clings to your skin. It smells of the Apennine forests, a fresh green memory in this city of brick and smoke. This scaffold is not rigid like the stone. It is flexible. It is lashed together not with iron nails which would rust and snap, but with ropes of hemp and flax. Look at the knots. They are complex, swollen with the morning dampness. The ropes bite into the wood, groaning under the tension. As the wind picks up, sweeping down from the Calian hill, the entire wooden lattice begins to sing. Listen, creak, groan, sigh. It is the sound of a great sailing ship at sea. The wood shifts against the stone. The planks under your feet bow slightly with your weight. It is a living thing, constantly adjusting, constantly settling. You must walk carefully here. There are no marble floors, only rough planks laid across the beams. Through the gaps you can see the ground dropping away, 10 feet, 20 feet, 50 feet down. The workers move with the grace of acrobats, trusting their lives to these lashings of rope and timber. We continue upward, climbing ladders that shake with every step until we reach the active edge of the construction. Here, the true masters of gravity are at work. Towering above us are the cranes, the polyspastos. They are terrifying in their size. 2 massive beams of oak, joined at the top in an inverted V shape, leaning out over the abyss. They are held in place by thick stay ropes anchored deep into the ground far below. They look like the necks of giant herons waiting to strike. But the heart of this machine is not the beam, it is the wheel. Look at the base of the crane. There sits a great wooden drum taller than a man. It is a treadmill, a cage for humans. Step closer to the wheel. The air here smells different. It smells of friction. It smells of animal fat. Great tubs of tallow, rendered from the slaughterhouses of Rome, stand open nearby. The workers smear the grease onto the axles and the ropes to prevent them from burning. It is a heavy, rancid smell that coats the back of your throat. Inside the wheel there are men. They are the engine of the empire. Watch them. They are stripped to the waist, their skin gleaming with sweat and grease. They step forward, climbing the slats of the wheel, but never moving in space. They are walking an endless staircase. As they walk, their weight turns the drum. The drum pulls the rope. The rope travels up the long neck of the crane through the complex system of pulleys and lifts the world. Thrum, thrum, thrum. That is the sound of the rope vibrating under tension. It is as thick as your arm, a twisted serpent of hemp. When the load is heavy, a massive block of travertine swaying in the air, the rope screams. You can see the fibers stretching, thinning out as the weight pulls them taut. The men in the wheel cannot see what they are lifting. They are blind to progress. They know only the rhythm of the climb and the commands of the foreman outside. "Heave!" cries the voice. The men step harder. The wheel groans. "Hold!" They freeze, locking their legs, holding the tonnage of the stone, with nothing but the resistance of their muscles and the friction of the axle. It is a dance of dangerous physics. If they slip, if the rope snaps, the wheel could spin backward uncontrollably, breaking bones and crushing bodies. But they do not slip. They are professionals. They are part of the machine. Watch the pulley block at the top of the crane. It has 5 wheels made of bronze. The rope weaves through them, dividing the weight, conquering gravity with mathematics. The Romans understood that you do not need to be a giant to lift a mountain. You only need geometry. The stone block rises past us, smooth and white, floating silently through the air. It passes within inches of the wooden scaffolding. You can feel the displacement of the air as it goes by, a ghost of heavy mass. It hovers, waits, and then gently descends onto the wall, guided by the hands of the masons. The wheel stops. The men inside slump against the slats, gasping for air, wiping the sweat from their eyes. The crane relaxes, the rope going slack with a heavy slap against the wood. Let us leave the noise of the wheel behind. Let us climb the final ladder, up, past the cranes, past the highest unfinished wall, until there is nothing above us but the open sky. We are standing on the very summit of the construction. We are standing on a narrow plank of fir wood, suspended between the earth and the heavens. The vertigo is a physical sensation here. It pulls at your stomach. Your instinct is to crouch, to grab the rough wood of the railing, but fight it. Stand tall. Look out. This is the view of the gods. From here, the chaotic sprawl of Rome lays itself out like a map. The noise of the city, the shouting of merchants, the rattle of carts, the barking of dogs, drifts up to us as a unified, distant hum. It sounds like the ocean. Look to the west. You can see the Forum, a canyon of white marble and gold roofs. You can see the smoke rising from the altars of the temples, thin grey ribbons dissolving into the blue. Look to the north, the Subura, the crowded, dangerous heart of the poor. From this height, you cannot see the filth in the streets. You see only a sea of terracotta tiles, a patchwork quilt of browns and reds stretching out towards the hills. And there, the Tiber, the great river serpent. It glides through the city, greenish-brown, reflecting the sun. You can see the tiny shapes of grain barges moving slowly against the current, bringing the bread that feeds the mob. The air up here is different. It is thinner, cleaner. The wind is constant. It dries the sweat on your skin instantly. It whistles through the gaps in the scaffolding, a lonely, high-pitched song. It tugs at your clothes, reminding you that you do not belong this high. Look down into the arena itself. From this height, the oval looks perfect. You can see the geometry clearly now. The rings of seats, the radiating walls, the dark mouth of the underground tunnels. It looks like the eye of a great beast staring up at the sun. The workers down below are no longer men. They are specks of dust. The oxen are beetles. The world of the ground feels miles away. There is a strange feeling of detachment up here. You are standing on a structure that will define the city for 1,000 years, yet you are standing on a piece of wood that will be gone in a month. Run your hand along the railing one last time. It is smooth from the grip of 1,000 hands before yours. It is warm. Think of the irony. This forest of timber, these thousands of trees cut from the silent mountains, have travelled all this way just to help the stone rise. They are the humble servants of architecture. They bear the weight of the men, the stone and the iron. They groan and creak so that the stone can stand silent and still. The sun begins to dip towards the Janiculum hill. The light turns golden, then orange. The shadows of the scaffolding stretch out long and thin across the city, barring the rooftops like a cage. The workday is ending. The cranes are locked in place. The wheel stops turning. The hammering ceases. But up here, in the silence of the high air, you can feel the ambition of Rome. It is a city that refuses to be bound by the earth. It piles stone upon stone, wood upon wood, climbing higher, always higher, until it can look the sun in the eye. Take one last look at the horizon. Breathe in the scent of the pine and the wind. We must descend now, back to the world of men. But remember this view. Remember the feeling of the wood beneath your feet, holding you up in the sky, before the forest is taken away and only the stone remains. We have climbed the foundations. We have risen past the heavy arches of travertine and the walls of brick. We have ascended through the forest of timber scaffolding. Now we must still go higher. We must go to the very crown of the world. Come with me to the attic of the amphitheatre. We are standing on the highest rim of the great stone bowl, nearly 160 feet above the street. The air here is thin and frantic. It rushes up from the heated streets of Rome and collides with the cool breezes coming from the Tyrrhenian Sea. It is a place of wind. It is a place where the earth ends and the sky begins. Look at the stone wall around us. It is not smooth. At regular intervals, jutting out from the face of the building like clenched fists, are heavy stone brackets. They are called corbels. There are 240 of them, ringing the entire circumference of the structure. They are waiting. They are open hands waiting to grasp a weapon, and the weapon is wood. But these are not the rough pine trunks of the scaffolding we saw below. These are masts. Look at them lying on the walkway. They are massive beams of spruce and fir, imported from the deepest, coldest forests of the north. They have been stripped of their bark, sanded until they are smooth as glass, and soaked in linseed oil to protect them from the sun and rain. They smell of the forest, yes, but they also smell of the shipbuilder's yard. They smell of resin and care. Watch the installation. It is a solemn, dangerous ritual. The workers here are not the same men who mix the concrete. They move differently. They have a rolling gait, a balance that defies gravity. They are the sailors of the imperial fleet, brought here from the naval base at Misenum. They are men of the ocean, summoned to conquer the air. They work in teams. They lift the great masts. The wood is heavy, dense with years of growth. With a coordinated grunt, a rhythmic release of breath, they slide the base of the mast through the hole in the cornice. Listen to the sound. Scrape. Thud. The wood slides against the stone, a deep, resonant vibration that travels down through the walls. The mast settles into the socket of the corbel, then another, and another. Walk along the perimeter and watch the transformation. The Colosseum is growing a crown. 240 masts rise vertically into the blue sky, standing like sentinels. They pierce the horizon. They look like the spears of a giant army waiting in ambush. But these spears are not for war. They are for the wind. The sailors move among them with familiarity. To a bricklayer, this height is terrifying. To a sailor who has spent his life clinging to the top of a mainmast in a gale, this is home. They pat the wood. They check. The fit! They are turning this stone mountain into a ship. Now look at what lies in the shadows of the attic wall. Great, heavy rolls of fabric. This is the Velarium. The veil. It is not a single piece of cloth. No loom in the world could weave a sheet that big. It is a puzzle of thousands of strips of linen and canvas, stitched together by sailmakers who have spent their lives fighting the storms of the Mediterranean. Touch the fabric. It is thick, coarse, and heavy. It feels like the hide of a rough beast. It is dyed in stripes. Some say it is the colours of the sky, blue and white. Others say it is the colours of fire, red and yellow. Up close, you can see the weave of the flax, the tiny fibres sticking out. It smells of dye vats and salt water. The sailors begin to unroll it. This is where the engineering of the sea meets the engineering of the land. They do not just throw the cloth over the side. That would be chaos. The wind would catch it and tear the building apart. They must rig it. Look up at the tops of the masts. There are pulleys made of bronze and hardwood gleaming in the sun. Through these pulleys run miles of rope. The rope is the nervous system of the Velarium. It is thick hemp rope twisted tight. It smells of tar. It is rough to the touch, capable of stripping the skin off a man's palm if he is not careful. The sailors begin to thread the eye of the needle. They cast the lines across the vast open mouth of the arena. The ropes crisscross the sky, creating a spiderweb of geometry against the blue. A central ring of rope, a donut of pure tension, hovers in the middle of the air, suspended over the center of the arena floor. It is a feat of balance. If one rope is too tight, the ring warps. If one is too loose, the canvas will sag. The captain of the sailors stands on a high perch. He does not shout. He uses a whistle. Tweet, a sharp, piercing sound that cuts through the wind. On the ground, far below, and on the attic level where we stand, hundreds of men brace themselves. They wrap the ropes around heavy bollards made of travertine. Their muscles tense. Their skin is brown as a nut, weathered by the salt spray of 1,000 voyages. Tweet. They pull. Heave. Pause. Heave. Pause. The rhythm is hypnotic. It is the rhythm of the rowing bench, the rhythm of the tide. Slowly, impossibly, the great canvas begins to unfurl. It moves like a living thing. It crawls out from the edge of the roof, sliding along the ropes. It snaps and flutters as the wind catches it. Whap, whap, whap. The sound is loud, like the cracking of whips, but the sailors hold it fast. They tighten the winches. The canvas pulls taut. It stops flapping and becomes a solid, curved surface. It bellies out in the wind, catching the breeze like a sail. And then the miracle happens. Look down into the arena. For years the valley has been a cauldron of heat. The sun has baked the stone, boiled the mud, and scorched the workers. But now, look at the floor of the amphitheatre. A shadow is born. It is not the shapeless shadow of a cloud. It is a geometric shadow. A perfect arc of darkness begins to creep across the white sand. It moves deliberately, swallowing the light. Where the shadow falls, the world changes. The glare vanishes. The heat, which was a physical weight pressing down on your shoulders, suddenly lifts. A cool breath seems to exhale from the ground. The light inside the arena changes colour. The sun beating down on the coloured canvas filters through. The air turns a soft, hazy yellow, or a dim, cooling red. It is like standing inside a lantern. The harsh, white reality of noon is replaced by a dreamlike twilight. The people down below, the senators in their marble seats, the commoners on their wooden benches, they look up. They do not see the sun. They see a new sky. A sky of fabric, rippling gently, breathing with the wind. But up here, on the roof, there is no rest. The wind is a fickle beast. It shifts. It gusts. If the wind blows too hard from the north, it catches the Velarium like a giant sail. The force is immense. It could rip the corbels right out of the wall. It could topple the masts. It could pull the Colosseum down. So the sailors must dance. They are constantly moving. They watch the ropes. They feel the tension in the wood. When the wind changes, the whistle blows again. Tweet! Slacken the west lines, tighten the east. They release the tension on one side, letting the canvas spill the wind. They haul on the other side, keeping the shape true. It is a constant battle. They are sailing a stone ship that never moves, fighting a storm that never rains. Stand by one of the bollards. Put your hand on the rope. Feel it vibrating. It hums like a cello string. It is singing the song of the wind. You can feel the power of the air transferring into the hemp, down into the stone and into your hand. It is a connection to the elemental forces of the sky. Close your eyes and listen. If you block out the distant roar of the crowd, what do you hear? You hear the creaking of timber masts groaning in their stone sockets. Creak, groan. You hear the rhythmic slapping of rope against canvas. Tap, tap, tap. You hear the whistle of the wind through the rigging. Whoosh. It is the sound of a harbour. It is the sound of the docks at Ostia. Here, in the absolute centre of Rome, miles from the nearest wave, the emperor has brought the ocean. He has placed a fleet of ships on top of a mountain of stone. The sailors work with a quiet pride. They are the only ones who can do this. A soldier knows how to march. A mason knows how to cut stone. But only a sailor knows how to tame the wind. They are the masters of the knot, the bowline, the sheepshank, the clove hitch. Their fingers move with a speed that blurs the eye, tying and untying, adjusting the tension of the world. The sun moves across the sky. The shadow moves across the arena. The sailors adjust the sails, following the light, ensuring that the emperor remains in the shade. As evening approaches, the reverse ritual begins. The whistle blows a long, mournful note. The ropes are loosened. The tension dies. The canvas sags, losing its belly, becoming just cloth again. The sailors haul it back, folding it with precision, tucking it away into the protection of the attic walls. The masts stand naked again against the twilight stars. The ropes hang slack. The sailors wipe the salt and sweat from their brows. But for those few hours, when the sun was high and the canvas was taut, they performed a magic trick. They turned the Colosseum into a sanctuary. They took the burning fury of the Roman summer and turned it into a cool, shadowed breeze. Stand at the edge one last time. The wind is calming down for the night. The ropes sway gently. The smell of the tar lingers on your fingers. You are high above the city, but you feel like you are at sea. The stone beneath you rolls with the memory of the wind. You are a passenger on the greatest vessel ever built, a ship of stone that sails through time, guided by the rough hands of the sailors of the sky. We have walked the rim of the world, where the wind whips the masts and the sailors wrestle with the sky. We have seen the white bone of the travertine and the red skin of the brick. But a body is more than just skin and bone. A body has guts. A body has a dark, wet interior where the organs work in silence to keep the beast alive. We must descend, come away from the sunlight, come away from the cheering crowds and the fresh air. Find the narrow stairwell hidden in the shadow of the service tunnel. The steps are steep and slippery. As we go down, count them with me. 1, 2, 3. With each step, the light fades. With each step, the sound of the city is muffled, replaced by a low, earthen hum. We are entering the Hypogeum, the underworld. The air here hits you like a physical wall. It is heavy. It is thick with moisture. It smells of wet, straw, of animal musk, of old sweat, and the metallic tang of fear. It is the smell of a cellar that has never known the sun. Open your eyes in the gloom. It takes a moment for them to adjust. The only light comes from torches set in iron sconces on the walls. The flames flicker, casting long, dancing shadows that seem to grab at your tunic. We are standing in a labyrinth. This is not the grand, open architecture of the arches above. This is a tight, claustrophobic maze. Walls of brick rise up on all sides, narrow and oppressive. They are stripped of any beauty. There is no marble here, no plaster, no paint, just raw red brick oozing with the dampness of the earth. Touch the wall. It is cold, clammy. Your fingers come away with a sheen of moisture. You are standing in the bottom of the drained lake, and the earth remembers the water. It pushes against these walls, trying to reclaim its territory. Walk with me down the central corridor. It is straight and long, disappearing into darkness at both ends. To your left and right, smaller passages branch off like the legs of a spider. It is a place designed to confuse, a place where a man could get lost and never be found. But there is order in this darkness. Listen to the sounds of the labyrinth. It is never silent here. Above, the crowd roars, but down here the sounds are intimate and terrifying. Scrape, shuffle. That is the sound of a cage being dragged across the stone floor. Growl, hiss. That is the sound of a leopard pacing in a wooden box, smelling the blood that drips through the wooden slats of the ceiling far above. You are walking underneath the arena floor. Look up. The ceiling is low, made of heavy wooden beams and planks covered in sand. Through the gaps, you can see thin slivers of bright, blinding daylight. You can see dust motes dancing in the shafts of sun that pierce the gloom. Every now and then, a shadow passes over the cracks. A gladiator, a beast. You are the ghost beneath their feet. But this place is not just a prison for beasts. It is a machine. Walk deeper into the shadows. We are approaching the heart of the mechanism. The corridor opens up slightly, revealing a row of strange vertical structures made of timber. They look like the skeletons of towers, rising from the muddy floor to the wooden ceiling. These are the elevators, the hegmata. There are 28 of them, standing in silent rows like soldiers. They are the secret of the spectacle. They are the magic trick that makes lions appear from thin air. Let us examine the engineering of surprise. The structure is made of sturdy oak beams, darkened by age and grease. In the center of the tower sits a cage. It is crude but strong, built to hold 500 pounds of muscle and fury. But how does it rise? There is no steam here. There is no engine. There is only physics. Walk around to the side of the shaft. Look at the ropes. They are thick hemp lines, worn smooth by constant use. They run up to the ceiling, over a system of bronze pulleys that gleam dully in the torchlight, and then down again. But they do not connect to a winch. They connect to a counterweight. This is the genius of the Roman engineer. They do not fight gravity. They use it. The counterweight is a large leather sack, reinforced with iron bands. It hangs suspended in a separate shaft. It is empty now, limp and wrinkled. Watch the team of men preparing the lift. They are silent, efficient. They move with the coordination of a single organism. They begin to fill the sack. They are shoveling sand. Shh, thud, shh, thud. The sound of the sand hitting the leather is soft and rhythmic. The sack grows heavy. It expands. It becomes a solid, crushing weight. They fill it until it balances the weight of the lion in the cage. Now, look at the capstan. It is a large wooden spool set into the floor waist high. 4 heavy wooden bars stick out from it like the spokes of a wheel. 4 men step forward. They are shirtless, their bodies distinct maps of muscle and scar tissue. They place their hands on the polished wood of the bars. They dig their sandals into the wet stone floor. The foreman whispers a command. Heave. They push, creak. The sound is low and agonizing. It is the sound of wood complaining against wood. The capstan turns. The rope tightens. It stretches, singing that low, thrumming note of tension we heard on the roof. But here, the sound is amplified by the enclosed walls. It echoes, groan, creak. The counterweight begins to drop. The sack of sand descends into the darkness of a pit, and as it goes down, the cage goes up. Watch the cage rise. It does not jerk. It glides. The counterweight does the heavy lifting. The men on the capstan are merely guiding it, controlling the speed. Follow the cage with your eyes. It rises toward the wooden ceiling. It rises toward the light. At the very top, built into the floor of the arena, is a trapdoor, a pegma. It is hinged with iron. As the top of the cage hits, the mechanism trips. Clack. Boom. The trapdoor falls open. The sudden burst of light is blinding. For a split second you see the blue sky, the white sand, the blurred faces of the crowd. The noise of the arena floods in, a wall of screaming noise. The beast in the cage leaps out, and then, just as quickly, the cage descends. The trapdoor slams shut. Bang! The light is cut off. The scream is silenced. The Hypogeum returns to its shadows. The men at the capstan exhale. They wipe their brows. The machine has cycled. The magic trick is complete. Above, the crowd gasps at the sudden appearance of death. Below, there is only the smell of sweat and the creaking of the rope. But there is one more layer to this underworld, one more sound that underpins everything. Stop moving. Stand perfectly still. Hold your breath. Do you hear it? It is faint, but it is constant. It is beneath the shuffling of feet, beneath the growl of the leopards, beneath the creak of the elevators. Burble, rush, splash. It is the sound of water. We are in a valley, remember. We are in the basin of a drained lake. The water still wants to be here. It seeps from the hills, it falls from the sky. It bubbles up from the springs. If left alone, the Hypogeum would be a swimming pool within a week. So the Romans built a machine for the water too. Walk to the edge of the corridor. Look down at the floor. There is a grate made of iron bars. Kneel down. The stone is wet here, slick with slime. Put your ear close to the grate. You can hear a river running beneath us. This is the drainage system. It is a masterpiece of hydraulic engineering, hidden in the dark. 4 great sewers, massive tunnels of brick and concrete, run underneath the foundations, connecting to the central ring drain. Listen to the water moving. It is fast. It is angry. It rushes through the dark channels, carrying away the waste of the arena. Think of what flows in that water. It carries the rain that falls on the stone seats. It carries the blood that is washed off the sand between fights. It carries the sawdust, the filth from the animal cages, the dust of the spectacle. Everything that happens above ends up here. The glory, the honor, the violence, it all liquefies and flows down into the dark, swirling drains of the Hypogeum. The sound is hypnotic. It is a wet, gurgling whisper, gush, swirl. It echoes off the wet brick walls of the sewer tunnels. Sometimes, after a great storm, the water rises. You can hear it lapping against the bottom of the floor stones. It brings a cold, mineral scent into the air, a reminder of the Tiber River waiting at the end of the line. The architects knew that water is the greatest enemy of stone, so they gave it a path, they gave it a road. They turned the enemy into a janitor. Stand up now, brush the damp grit from your knees, look around the Hypogeum one last time. The flickering torches, the wooden towers of the elevators, the dark mouths of the corridors. It is ugly here. It is smelly. It is dangerous, but it is the most important part of the building. Without these dark, wet corridors, the Colosseum is just a pile of rocks. Without the sweat of the men on the capstans, there is no magic. Without the rushing water in the drains, there is only rot. This is the engine room of Rome. It grinds and churns in the dark, eating sand and water and sweat, so that the world above can have its heroes. Let us find the stairs. Let us climb back up toward the fresh air. The heavy, damp atmosphere of the machine is clinging to our clothes. We need the sun, but as you emerge back into the light, you will never look at the sand the same way again. You will know what lies beneath. You will hear the whisper of the water and the creak of the rope turning endlessly in the dark. We have emerged from the wet, grinding darkness of the machine. We have climbed the final wooden ladder, leaving the smell of the sewers and the sweat of the capstan crews behind us. Let your eyes adjust. The light here is different. It is not the thin, filtered grey of the tunnels. It is the full, unbridled glory of the Roman sun. We are standing on the stage. Look down at your feet. You are no longer standing on stone. The cold, unyielding travertine that forms the skeleton of this beast is gone. Beneath your sandals lies wood. This is the great wooden oval, the floor that hides the underworld. It is a vast deck, a ship's deck stranded in a sea of stone seats. It is built from heavy planks of oak and beech, felled in the forests of the north and brought here to be the final barrier between the monsters and the sky. Kneel down, place your palm flat against the timber. It is warm. It has been baking in the morning sun, absorbing the heat until it radiates a gentle, dry warmth against your skin. It is rough. It has not been polished like the furniture of a senator's villa. It is splintery and raw. You can feel the grain of the wood, the ridges where the saw cut through, the fibres. Close your eyes and inhale, deeply. What do you smell? It is the scent of a carpenter's workshop magnified 1,000 times. It is the smell of fresh sawdust. It is a clean, sharp, resinous smell. It smells of new beginnings. It smells of the forest. There is a sweetness to it, a dry, woody perfume that hangs low over the floor, masking the foul odours rising from the cages below. For a moment, if you focus only on the smell, you could be in a lumber yard in the mountains. But then you feel the vibration. Step lightly on the planks. Thump, thump. The sound is hollow. It is deep and resonant like a drum, because that is what this floor is. It is the skin of a drum stretched over the hollow cavity of the Hypogeum. Every footstep here sends a message to the men and beasts waiting in the dark below. They hear us walking. To them, we are the thunder of the gods. Walk to the centre of the oval. The joinery is tight. The carpenters have laid these planks with precision, leaving only the smallest gaps for the air to circulate. Through these tiny cracks, if you put your eye to them, you might catch a glimpse of a torch flickering in the deep, or the tawny flash of a lion's fur. But up here the surface is continuous. It is solid, but a wooden floor is not enough. Wood is slippery when wet. Wood stains, and wood does not drink. The arena needs a carpet. It needs a skin that can absorb the sins that are about to be committed upon it. Look toward the eastern gate, the gate of life. The carts are arriving. They are heavy, two-wheeled carts pulled by mules that plod softly on the wooden deck. They are piled high with the final ingredient, the most important material in the entire Colosseum. It is not marble, it is not gold, it is sand. The Romans call it harina. It is from this word, this humble material, that the building will take its name. The arena, the place of sand. Watch the labourers as they begin to unload it. They do not dump it carelessly. They use wide, wooden shovels, spreading it with long, sweeping motions. Shh, shh, shh. Listen to the sound. It is one of the most soothing sounds in the world. It is the sound of dry earth meeting dry wood. It is a soft hiss, like the sigh of a sleeping giant. It is a sound of erasure. This is not ordinary dirt from the fields. This is special sand. It comes from the riverbeds of the Tiber, or from the glittering pits of the coast. It has been sifted. There are no rocks in it, no roots, no clay. It is pure, it is fine, and it is golden. Look at the colour as it spreads across the greying wood. It catches the sunlight and ignites. It is a deep, rich yellow, flecked with tiny crystals of quartz and mica that sparkle like crushed diamonds. It looks like a carpet of gold dust being unrolled for a king. The labourers move backward, covering their tracks as they go. They are painting the floor with gold. They work in a rhythm, spreading a layer exactly 2 inches thick, not too deep, or the fighters will stumble, not too shallow, or the wood will show through. It must be perfect. As the sand covers the wood, something magical happens to the acoustics of the valley. Moments ago, your footsteps echoed. Clack, thud. The voice of the foreman bounced off the stone walls. The space was alive with the sharp, bouncing noise of construction, but the sand is a silencer. As the layer grows, the noise dies. The sand drinks the sound. It swallows the echoes. The sharp clatter of tools becomes a dull thud. The voices become hushed and intimate. Walk onto the fresh sand now. Silence. Your footsteps make no sound. You are floating. The grit shifts softly under your sandals, moulding to the shape of your foot, supporting you, holding you. It feels soft yet firm. It offers traction. It offers stability. The transformation is complete. The wooden drum has been muted. The stage is set. Now we wait. The workers have finished. They retreat to the edges, disappearing into the shadows of the dark. Archways, the carts are gone, the shovels are put away. You're alone in the centre of the world. Take a moment to absorb the vastness of this emptiness. It is the morning of the opening. The crowd has not yet arrived. The emperor is still in his palace. The city is holding its breath. Look up at the seats. Thousands upon thousands of empty places. Rows of white marble rising up like the steps of a stairway to heaven. They are silent now, bathed in the cool morning shadow. but soon they will be filled with a sea of togas, a riot of colour and noise. But right here, right now, there is only peace. The sun has climbed higher. It floods the arena floor with a blinding vertical light. The sand glows so brightly it hurts to look at it. It radiates heat, creating a shimmering haze just above the ground. The air ripples. It is a pristine landscape, a desert in a box. There is not a single footprint on it save for yours. It is a blank page waiting for the story to be written, and we know what ink will be used. The sand is here for a purpose. It is here to drink. It is thirsty. It is designed to clump when wet, to turn red and heavy, to be raked away and replaced in the blink of an eye. It is the ultimate cleanser. No matter what horror happens here, the sand will swallow it. A quick rake, a fresh bucket, and the floor is virgin again, golden and innocent. But do not think of that yet. Push the future away. Stay in this moment of suspension. The air is still. The wind from the masts high above does not reach down here. In the bottom of the bowl the air is motionless. It smells of the hot sand, a dry mineral scent like a sun-baked beach. It smells of the pine sawdust underneath. It smells of waiting. You can feel the weight of the eyes that are not yet there. The architecture focuses everything, every arch, every seat, every tunnel, right onto the spot where you stand. You are the focal point of the empire. It is a heavy feeling, a pressure on the chest. The silence is not empty. It is full of expectation. It is the silence of a held breath before a scream. A bird flies over the open roof, a small hawk. It circles once, casting a tiny fleeting shadow on the golden perfection below. It cries out a sharp, lonely screech and then flies on. The sound lingers for a second and then vanishes into the sand. Everything is ready. The stone bones are strong. The concrete muscles are hard. The wooden skin is laid. And now the golden makeup has been applied. Walk slowly toward the edge of the arena. Do not drag your feet. Leave clear, deliberate prints. Mark your presence. When you reach the barrier wall, the podium, look back. The field of gold stretches out, vast and terrifyingly beautiful. It is perfect. It is quiet. It is the calmest place in Rome. But listen closely. From beneath the floor, muffled by the timber and the 2 inches of sand, comes a sound. Thump. A body hitting the side of a cage. Roar. A lion testing its voice. The sand trembles slightly. Just a vibration. The grains shift. Just a fraction of an inch. The machine is waking up. Peace is an illusion. The golden sand is a lie. But oh, what a beautiful lie it is. Step into the shadows of the gate of life. Hide yourself. The time for building is over. The silence is about to break. The gates are opening. The roar has ended. The last cry of the crowd has faded into the air, carried away by the evening breeze toward the distant sea. The spectacle is over. The day is done. Now begins the slow, heavy breathing of the aftermath. Stand with me on the highest tier, up among the wooden seats where the poorest citizen sat. The sun is dying. It sinks behind the Janiculum hill, a swollen, bruised fruit of deep orange and violent purple. It casts long, distorted shadows across the city of Rome. The light is no longer the harsh, revealing glare of noon. It is soft. It is forgiving. It touches the tops of the temples and the roofs of the tenements with a golden dust. Melancholy. The Colosseum is cooling down. All day the stone has drunk the fire of the sun. The travertine, the brick, the concrete, they are saturated with heat. Now, as the air turns cool and blue, the building exhales. Can you feel it? Put your hand near the stone wall. It radiates warmth like the skin of a beast that has run a great distance and is now resting in its cave. The air shimmers slightly above the seats. It smells of the end of things. It is a complex scent. It is the smell of 50,000 bodies that have sweat and cheered and screamed for hours. It is the sour tang of spilled wine. It is the sharp, sulphurous smell of garlic and fish sauce left behind on wrappers of leaves. And underneath it all, that persistent, metallic scent of iron, the scent of the sand down below. But the sand is in shadow now. The arena floor is a pool of darkness. The drama has left the stage. Listen to the exodus. It is a sound like the tide receding from the shore, the vomitoria. Those great mouths of the building are doing their work. They are spewing the city back out into the streets. Shuffle, scuff, murmur. It is not a chaotic stampede, it is a fluid motion. The architecture guides them. The senators in their white togas have already gone, whisked away in litters through their private exits, their marble seats left cold and white. The knights have departed. Now it is the slow, steady pour of the common people. Watch them from above. They are a river of heads flowing down the stairs, spiralling down the ramps. The sound of their sandals on the stone is a continuous hushed friction. It sounds like dry leaves blowing across a pavement. The voices are low. There is no cheering now. The energy of the games has been spent. People are tired. Their throats are raw. They speak in low tones, dissecting the kills, replaying the moments of death, but their voices are swallowed by the vastness of the empty bowl. As the crowd thins, the silence begins to creep back in. It starts in the upper rows and flows downward, reclaiming the space seat by seat. Look at the debris they leave behind. The stadium is not pristine. It is littered with the detritus of the day. Broken pottery shards crunch underfoot. Olive pits, walnut shells, a lost sandal, a torn piece of a tunic. These are the ghosts of the audience. They lie scattered on the benches, small tokens of the life that filled this place only an hour ago. The wind picks up. It swirls through the empty arches, whistling softly. It catches a scrap of papyrus and dances it across the stone seats. Scritch, scritch. It feels lonely now. A stadium without a crowd is a strange, haunting place. It feels too big. It feels judgmental. The empty seats look like thousands of unblinking eyes staring down at the dark arena. They are waiting for the next scream, but tonight there will be no more. The last few stragglers disappear into the tunnels. The heavy iron gates clang shut. Boom! The sound. Echoes, bouncing off the far walls, ringing for a long time before fading into nothing. Now we are truly alone. The twilight deepens into indigo. The first stars appear, pale and watery above the open roof. The masts of the Velarium stand naked and black against the sky, their ropes swaying gently in the rising wind. There is a heaviness in the air, a pressure. The heat of the day has collided with the cool air of the coming night, and the sky is turning angry. Look up, the stars are disappearing. Great heavy clouds are rolling in from the west, blotting out the twilight. They are dark, bruised clouds, heavy with water. You can smell the change instantly. Petrichor. It is the scent of dry stone about to be kissed by rain. It is a dusty mineral smell, sharp and clean. The air turns cold. The heat radiating from the walls fights against the chill, creating little swirls of mist that cling to the floor. The first drop falls. Splat. It hits the stone seat next to you. It is a large, heavy drop. It spreads out, turning the pale travertine to a dark, wet grey. Then another. Tap. And another. Pish. The sky opens. It does not start gently. It is a Roman storm. It is sudden and violent. The rain comes down in sheets, a curtain of silver water washing over the world. Listen to the sound. It is a symphony of water on stone. Drum, drum, drum. It is loud. It drowns out the distant noise of the city. It fills the bowl with a rushing, roaring white noise. The water hits the hot stones, and for a moment it hisses. Steam rises up, ghostly and white, twisting in the darkness. The smell of wet dust becomes overpowering, then fades, replaced by the clean, cold scent of the storm. Watch the water flow. The architects designed this building for blood, yes, but they also designed it for this. The Colosseum is a machine for water. Rivulets begin to form on the steep banks of seats. They join together, becoming little rivers. They cascade down the steps. Splash, gurgle. They rush. Over the marble of the senator's tier, washing away the dust of the footprints. They flow down to the podium wall and spill over the edge, falling onto the arena floor below. The sand is thirsty. It drinks the rain greedily at first. The golden surface turns dark brown, then black. It becomes heavy. But the rain is too fast. The sand cannot hold it all. Puddles begin to form. They reflect the lightning that flashes overhead. Crack. The thunder booms, trapped inside the stone bowl, shaking the very foundations. It sounds like the gods are applauding in the empty seats. The water finds the drains. Deep below, in the darkness of the Hypogeum, the sewers are waking up. We heard them before as a whisper, but now they are a torrent. The water rushing off the seats, the water falling from the sky. It all funnels down into the dark belly of the beast. The rain washes the stone. It cleanses the vomitoria. It scrubs the stairs. It is a baptism. The sweat, the wine, the spit, the blood. It is all lifted up and carried away. Stand in the shelter of an archway and watch the deluge. The travertine shines in the darkness. Wet stone has a beauty that dry stone lacks. It glistens. It looks like a polished bone. The water brings out the colours in the rock, the veins of yellow and grey, the hidden textures. The building looks ancient in the rain. It looks timeless. The crowds are fleeting. They come and go like leaves in the wind. But the stone remains. The rain falls on it as it falls on the mountains, indifferent and eternal. The temperature drops. The oppressive heat of the day is gone, washed into the gutters. The air is cold, crisp and breathable. The storm begins to pass as quickly as it arrived. The roar of the rain softens to a patter. The thunder rumbles away to the east, chasing the night. Silence returns, but it is a different silence. It is not the hollow, exhausted silence of the exit. It is a wet, dripping silence. Drip, drip, splash. Water falls from the edge of a torsure, the cornices. It trickles down the columns. The arena floor is a dark, muddy lake, steaming slightly in the cool air. The moon breaks through the clouds. A shaft of pale silver light strikes the wet seats. They glitter like diamonds. The Colosseum is clean. It has been purged. The day of fury is washed away. The beast is sleeping, bathed and cold. Tomorrow the sun will rise. The sand will be raked. The crowds will return with their noise and their heat. But for now, in the quiet dark, there is only the sound of the last drops of rain falling on the wet, white stone, and the whisper of the wind moving through the clean, empty arches. Rest now. The stone is sleeping. The storm has passed. The water has drained away into the deep, dark throat of the earth. The clouds have parted, drifting lazily toward the mountains, leaving the sky a canvas of deep, velvety indigo. And now the moon rises. It is a full moon, a disk of cold, white fire hanging directly above the open mouth of the core. Amphitheatre. Look at the building now. It is no longer the bustling machine of the day. It is no longer the wet, gleaming vessel of the storm. It has become something else entirely. It has become a sculpture of light and shadow. The moonlight strikes the upper rim of the travertine wall. It paints the stone in shades of silver and bone. It is a ghostly light, stripping away the colour, leaving only the form. The yellow of the sunlight is gone. The red of the brick is muted to grey. Everything is monochromatic. Everything is still. Walk with me through the outer ambulatory. The moonlight pours through the 80 arches, casting long, sharp shapes onto the ground. They look like the teeth of a comb, or the bars of a cage, stretching out across the pavement. Step into the shadow. It is absolute. It is a pool of ink. You disappear in it. Step into the light. It is brilliant. It exposes every crack, every pit in the stone. There is a game being played here, a silent drama between the solid and the void. The arches are no longer just doorways. They are eyes. 80 black, unblinking eyes staring out into the night. 80 empty sockets in a giant skull. The silence is profound. The city of Rome sleeps around us. The traffic has died down. The shouting is over. All you can hear is the wind. It sighs through the upper levels. Ooh. It sounds different at night. It sounds mournful. It sounds like a memory trying to find a place to rest. From this vantage point, in the quiet silver light, the Colosseum does not look like a place of violence. It looks like a cathedral. It has the same soaring verticality, the same hush, the same feeling that you are standing in the presence of something sacred. The violence has been distilled by time and night into a pure, silent geometry. Let the centuries dissolve now. Let them melt away like the morning mist. Fast forward the clock. Watch the years flicker by like the pages of a book in a strong wind. The empire falls. The marble is stripped away. The statues are toppled. The iron clamps are dug out by thieves, leaving deep, pock-marked scars in the stone. And we arrive here, today. Look at the giant now. It is broken. It is a ruin. The perfect oval is shattered. The southern side has collapsed, leaving a jagged diagonal scar against the sky. The seats are gone, revealing the naked ribs of the structure. The wooden floor has rotted away, exposing the labyrinth of the Hypogeum to the open air. But in this decay, there is a new kind of beauty, a romantic beauty. Nature has returned to claim the stone. Look closely at the walls. Life has taken root in the cracks. Where once the blood of gladiators spilled, now green tendrils spill down the masonry. It is a hanging garden of wild weeds and flowers. Can you smell it? It is a dry herbal scent. It smells of hot dust and crushed leaves. It smells of wild fennel and capers. Yes, the caper bush loves the Colosseum. It clings to the sheer face of the brick. It's round, green leaves drinking the sun, its white and purple flowers blooming in the silence. Touch the moss that grows on the northern side, where the sun never hits. It is soft as velvet. It is cool and damp against your fingertips. It cushions the hardness of the Roman concrete. It is a bandage on an old wound. Vines of ivy snake their way up the pillars, wrapping around the travertine like lovers. They soften the edges. They blur the lines. The stone is sharp and angular, but the green is soft and chaotic. The ruin feels gentle now. It is no longer a machine of death. It has become a sanctuary for small things. Lizards sun themselves on the warm rocks. Pigeons coo in the holes left by the scaffolding beams. The wind rustles through the dry grass that grows on the high ridges. Rustle, hush, rustle. It is a peaceful sound. The Colosseum has been reclaimed. It has been turned from a factory of slaughter into a garden of memory. The vegetation does not destroy the building. It embraces it. It holds the crumbling bricks together. It whispers that life goes on, that nature always wins in the end, covering even the greatest works of man with a blanket of green. But beneath the ivy, beneath the scars, the stone remains. Put your hand against the massive pier of the ground floor. Lean your weight against it. Close your eyes. Feel the solidity. This is the promise of the Colosseum. In a world that moves too fast, in a world where things are built to break, where glass towers rise and fall, this stone stands. It has stood for 2,000 years. It has seen fires. It has seen earthquakes. It has seen wars. It has seen the coming and going of popes and kings and dictators, and it has not moved. There is a deep, resonant safety in that. When you touch this wall, you are touching eternity. You are grounding yourself. You are anchoring your small, fleeting life to something that understands the long, slow march of time. It makes you feel small, yes, but it also makes you feel held. The travertine is warm. It holds the memory of every sun that has ever shone on Rome. It holds the vibration of every footstep. It is a battery of history. Look up one last time at the broken silhouette against the stars. It does not look defeated. It looks restful. It is a sleeping giant. It is resting after a long, hard life. It has done its work. It has held the world in its arms. And now it simply sits, watching the moon rise and fall, watching the seasons turn, watching us. It asks nothing of us. It does not demand our applause. It only asks to be witnessed. The wind blows through the empty arches. The shadows lengthen. The city sleeps. But the giant is awake in its dreams of stone. It will be here tomorrow. It will be here 1,000 years from now. And so, the great arches stand tall against the ancient sky, and we gently close this heavy book, sliding it back into the silence. The noise of the construction fades away completely, replaced only by the soft, comforting rhythm of the rain against the library glass. You are safe. The work is done, and the night is yours. Rest now, drift deeper into the warmth, and if you wish to dream within these walls again, Simply return to us tomorrow. Good night, sweet dreams. Good night.